Storm Yoshi continues to make a lot of ice. It's finished its snow making. Now it's ice in two forms, sleet and freezing rain. But it did make snow earlier on, and these numbers are pretty close to where we were projecting and in the areas that we were. So this, at least in the last iteration of forecasts, which came out yesterday, thank God this one came close to what we said it would do. In Granby, we had 7 inches, Suffield about 6. In fact, I want to give credit to these, and you can see Canaan at Jim's coming in at 5, and it was Rebecca in Granby that gave us the snow total there of 7 inches, and Chris in Suffield gave us the 6. So thank you guys for that. You can see Sharon at Merrill's was 4, East Thompson, Mary had 2, and in New Milford, Mary Beth had 1 inch, and then it started to change over to sleet, and in some cases it's this glaze. And this ice was a picture that Megan took in Sandy Hook, and you can see it's probably about 1/8 of an inch, and notice the drips there. So this continues to add on and add on to these branches, especially white pines and other conifers. Those things, not only do they hold the weight more because they have the needles on them, but they're brittle, so they snap. So those are the areas where you might hear a lot of crashing as we get more of that ice accretion on those limbs. Otherwise, you can see how in places like West Hartford, how the whiteness of the ground is there. Looks like the crews took care of the main streets here around Blueback Square, but I wouldn't trust it so much as we will have colder temperatures coming in, especially this afternoon. Here's West Haven. It's looking rather wet after we saw a little coating of snow and sleet earlier on. Here's an expansive view of the storm. There's still several more hours of precipitation to go. You can see the expanse of precipitation goes all the way back past Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So through the rest of the morning and into the mid-afternoon, the storm will last. Question is, what exactly will it bring from here on out? Well, for the next several more hours, I think we're going to hold steady on exactly where we're seeing the ice versus the plain rain. You see, the plain rain has moved all the way up into southern Windham County. There's a nice fetch of warmth coming up off the waters of the Sound. So, and there's nothing to impede it from getting here. So that's why we've seen that changeover to plain rain all the way up and into the Windham area, all the way up to the Mansfield Dam. And then it comes up the Connecticut River Valley as much as it can, but then it hits this ring of hills here through northern Middlesex County, and that locks in the cold air to the north. And that's why I think it's going to stay quite cold and icy here through the northern Connecticut River Valley. That does include all of Hartford, East Hartford, West Hartford, and then up through the Windsors and into Enfield. Same thing for the Farmington Valley. And I think we're just locked in the cold air here through northwestern Connecticut too, even northern New Haven and Fairfield counties. We just have this supply of cold air running down the valley, and that is why we are going to hold on to that cold air. You can see it's down to 23 in Windsor Locks. You contrast that with 37 in Groton, and again, that northerly wind across northern Connecticut is going to maintain that. In southern Connecticut, we have the chance of not only 40s, but maybe a few hours of temperatures going into the 50s for just a brief while. Notice how it could be 53 in Norwich, but 28 in Hartford. That is certainly possible when you have the winds coming in from the different directions as the storm's moving on by. But then once the storm is completely to our east, the cold air comes down, and boy, it really does not stop. And that's why by tomorrow morning we're looking at lows. And these are the actual air temperatures, not factoring the wind. Maybe 1 in Hartford, -4 in Salisbury and also Torrington. So before that happens, we have the precipitation. I do take issue with where the freezing is. I think that it will be a little bit more locked into more parts of northern Connecticut during the course of the morning to noon. But you get the whole spirit of the matter that northern Connecticut has the frozen precipitation, southern Connecticut holds on to plain rain. And then once it finally ends, I think we don't end with much in the way of a switch over to snow at all. It ends just too quickly. But the cold air comes in so quickly that there isn't too much drying. And so I think we could be dealing with a flash freeze on some of those wet surfaces as we go into the late afternoon toward the evening. In your early morning 7-day forecast, then tomorrow, well, it is going to be a brutally cold day. So if your thought is maybe to go skiing or anything like that, as it is the day that you could do that sort of thing, because a lot of people have it off, the wind chills are going to range between -10 to -25, even lower, maybe to -30. Wind chill advisories are posted for the state tomorrow, and we may get to 12, but I think a lot of towns tomorrow inland will be in the single digits for highs, and that's with wind. And then, hey, Nicole, what do you think? Yeah, so we're talking about Monday, so why don't you point to it?
Oh, sorry, Mike.
That's all right.
My Vanna skills are a little off these days.